I'm Farhan, your host for the day. Hope you're all doing good. Welcome to another live session by Skillmind. We will be covering an interesting topic: mastering ISO 27001, navigating pitfalls, and achieving certification excellence in today's live session. ISO 27001 is an international standard that provides a systematic approach to managing information security within an organization. It outlines a framework for establishing, implementing, maintaining, and continually improving an information security management system, ISMS. It includes requirements for risk assessment, security policies and procedures, employee awareness and training, physical and environmental security, access control, incident response, and business continuity planning. ISO 27001 helps organizations ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of their information assets, comply with regulatory requirements, and build trust with customers and stakeholders. Before we begin our discussion for the day, let me give a brief introduction about Skillmine and the team behind it. Skillmine Technology Consulting is a new generation IT software company with a wider presence in India, the Middle East, and the Americas. The company excels in the areas of cloud transformation, cybersecurity, robotic process automation, data science, data center consolidation and analytics, and digital transformation. As a customer focused organization, Skillmind helps businesses optimize their IT investments while preparing them for the best in class operating model. To complement this, Skillmind also supports IT organizations with skill augmentation services to meet the challenges of a complex IT environment. Now, let me introduce the speakers for the day: Ms. Neha Rakeshiya and Ms. Rajeshwari Aher. Neha is an IT security consultant with expertise in various areas, including compliance, ISO 27001:2013, vendor risk assessment, governance, risk compliance, business continuity planning, risk management, exception management, and IT security audit. Rajeshwari is a GRC consultant with expertise in information security governance, program development and management, incident management and risk management, third party management, and customer audit management. She has hands on experience on Skillmine's IT GRC solution Compliant. Review of IT policies, procedures, and processes, regulatory coverage and compliance requirements, risk assessment and mitigation are other areas of her expertise. Good evening, Neha and Rajeshwari.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello everyone, thanks for the introduction, Farhan.
Thank you. Now, let me just brief you about the agenda for the day. The agenda today would be to give an overview of ISO 27001, including the best practices to achieve certification excellence. We would also be answering a few popular questions from the audience. If you have any doubts or need more clarification on any of the questions, please feel free to raise them in the chat window. Now, let's begin without further delay. Thank you all for taking time to join us today. Over to you, Neha.
Yeah, thanks once again, Farhan. I'm sharing my
You're
screen.
welcome. Sure.
Hope my screen is visible. Hello, hello.
It's not yet visible on my side, Neha.
Rajeshwari, is it visible?
Maybe there's a latency.
No, Neha, not yet.
Uh, okay, I'm just give me a time. I just reshare once again.
Yeah, sure.
Is it visible?
No, Neha. I think let me try sharing your screen then. I have the document with me. Okay, let me just share it, okay? Give
Uh,
me a second. I'll share it. Could
okay.
you exit the share, please, if you're on it right now?
Yeah. And I've unshared it right now.
Okay, cool. Let me share.
Yeah.
Are you able to see?
Yeah, I can see.
All right, let me mute myself.
Okay. Okay. Can I start? Hello everyone. Today I'll give you a session related to ISO 27001 2013. So, let's start with the introduction, then we will go further. So, ISO 27001 2013 is an internationally recognized information security standard which is set by the International Organization for Standardization. This standard can be set by any organization to protect their information in a very systematic and cost effective way. This standard outlines a specific requirement for organization to establish, maintain, and continually improve their information security management system. So, we will understand what is information and information security. So, information is the most valuable asset of an organization. Information security protects information from a wide range of threats in order to preserve its value to an organization. Now, we will understand the importance of information security. So, uh, next slide. Hello. I cannot see the screen, Paran.
Okay, you're not able to see?
No, I cannot see your screen.
All right, just a second.
Can I share once again my screen? Yeah, now I can see. Can you just zoom it little bit? Means zoom it to the full screen mode. Okay. Now we will understand the objectives of the information security. So there are three most important pillars of the information security, that is CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality means only the authorized person can access the information. Integrity means only the authorized person can change the information. Availability means only the authorized person can access the information whenever there is a required. Now there are some clauses of ISMS. Farhan, please change the slide. Okay. So there are 4 to 10 clauses which are mandatory and needs to be implemented, and we should document these 4 to 10 related clause document. Let's start with the scope. In scope, we just draft the informations that we want to protect through implementing ISMS. In this document, we will identify all the critical applications, systems, people, process, and facilities, and we should document in a scope document. Context of the organization. In this document, we have to list down all the issues related to internal parties, external issues, as well as interested parties related issues. Leadership. In this clause, we set the policies of information security and identify the information security objectives. Under planning clause, here we address the risk assessment, identify what are the risks, and we make a plan of risk treatment plan to mitigate those risks. In support clause, there are resources, competency of employees, awareness, and communication. These are the things which support in this clause. Resources means the organization has limited number of resources which can support the ISMS, and the resources should aware of the information security controls and policy, and they should also know what are the consequences if they do not follow the information security policies. Operations. In operations, the processes we should document and should be reviewed at plant interval. Risk assessment should be reviewed also at a plant interval. In performance evaluation, the organization should demonstrate who needs to be monitored, what should be monitored, and evaluate the results. And after that, we have to do the internal audit. Internal audit should perform at planned intervals, and whatever the NCs means non-conformities that we have identified should be documented. And there is one clause also called management review. We have to represent all the NCs in front of the management and take his feedback also. In the improvement clause, whatever the non-conformities that we have identified, we have to make a corrective action plan for closure of all the NCs. Now we can talk about all the controls of ISO. Farhan, can you just change the next slide, please? Okay. So there are 114 controls of ISMS, which is subdivided into 14 domains. So there are these are the controls. It starts with A.5 and ends with A.18. So A.5 talks about information security policy. So a set of information security policies should be defined, approved by the management, and these policies should be communicated to all the employees so that they can also aware of the ISO policies. And these policies should be reviewed at a planned interval or in between if there is any significant changes occur. Next is organization of information security. In this control, the roles and responsibility of information security management system should be defined. A.7 talks about HR resource security, means human resource security control. In this control, what are the steps should be taken by the HR team during the employment before any employee on board, and if any employee gets terminated or change its position, what are the steps they have to take it defined in this control. And the HR should also responsible of taking care of awareness training of all the employees. Employees should gone through all information security awareness training at least annually. Next control is A.8, which talks about asset management. We should make a procedure of asset management and maintain a asset inventory. And asset inventory should be reviewed at a planned interval. Whatever the asset that are using in the organization should be list down. Okay, and there is subclauses classification of information. We should classify all information basis or confidentiality, uh, public and restricted. Access control. In this control, whenever you are giving any access, physical access or logical access to any employee, so it should be approval authenticated, means you have to take any approval before giving to any access to any employee or anyone. And the access review should be performed at least quarterly. Cryptography control. This control talks about the data encryption in rest and in motion. Physical and environmental security. In this control, what are the controls you have to implement in your corporate environment? That step should be taken. For example, CCTV camera is there or not, and it is monitoring by 27 or not, security guard is there or not, and if any visitor access to your premises, so it should be monitored and his entry should be maintained in your visitor register. Next control is operation security control. In this controls talks about all the operations like whether your systems or servers antivirus installed or not, and if there are any changes happen in your environment, so it should be monitored. Means if anyone raise any change request, so before deploying their changes, it should be approved by the change should be approved by the change manager. And there is one subclause also called technical vulnerability management. So BAPT also performed to protect from any attack by the outsider. So BAPT should be performed by any critical systems and your infrastructure. Communication security control. In this control, we have to implement the control to protect your network. A.14 talks about system acquisition, development, and maintenance. In this, if we onboard any projects, so we have to implement some security controls in your new projects, and we have to perform a source code review and maintain a record of it. A.15 is a supplier relationship control. Suppose your organization taking a service from third party. So for this, we have to do a third party risk assessment. and your vendor should also follow your information security policies. Third is then it is 8.16, and it talks about information security incident management. In this control, we should document an information security incident management procedure where anyone can just go through and identify what step he has to take if he identify any incident, and we have to make incident response team so that employee should know the person details if we identify any type of incidents. And if you identify any incident, we have to perform a root cause analysis. We keep all the details on the incidents, and we also perform incident register so that it will be easier to track what are the incident that has happened till now. Next control is 8.17, which talks about information security aspects of the business continuity management. We have to prepare a BCPDR plan. Suppose if you are working from a primary sites, then it should be you have a backup of secondary sites. Suppose your primary sites get failed, so you have a backup, so you can work accordingly by the help of your secondary sites. So at planned interval, at least annually, we have to perform a drill for testing your secondary site is working fine or not. Last is 8.18 is compliance control. In this control, the organization should know what are the laws or regulations the company should comes under, so that we can comply with all the laws or regulations related to it, so that it will avoid any breaches or any penalties. Now, Farah, can you just change the slide? Now, my teammate Rajeshwari will give you our in-house tool of description related to compliance. Rajeshwari, over to you, please.
Thanks, Neha. Hello, everyone. Rajeshwari on this side. Guys, to manage the compliance in organizations is getting really tough these days. Often we see that most organizations rely heavily on spreadsheets for their security frameworks and control tracking. Spreadsheets are easy and cheap to set up, but they are virtually impossible to automate. They are manual, do not capture compliance evidence, and more often unable to meet the audit times in terms of due dates. So it makes it really difficult to keep a track on each and every activity during the audit process, right? The evidence is usually collected through the mail and other resources. When organizations were static, mostly centralized, I can say, and had an on-premise systems, this approach worked okay. But in 2021, organizations are more and more powered by public cloud and hyperscale platforms, right? They have IT assets in multiple geographic locations, and information is accessible by numerous devices from anywhere in the world. Furthermore, many organizations are sorry, relying more heavily on outside entities or contractors as part of their own products or services. This reliance on downstream vendors require diligent control and security frameworks. Correct. So we have come up with our homegrown and a Make in India GRC tool called as Compliant. Compliant provides flexibility for managing and tracking the necessary compliance as per various standards like PCI DSS, ISO 27001, ISO 14001, HIPAA, SEBI, SAMA, GDPR, NIST, etc. It facilitates the simplification of gap analysis process and required mitigation to attain the desired compliance level for organizations. It has a pre-packed content of more than 17 plus frameworks along with the various policies and procedure. And let me tell you that this solution is highly customizable. And if you have or you are following certain other frameworks, even that frameworks or the standards we can incorporate in our tool. Also, evidence collection is done under one umbrella along with due date triggers with a compliance calendar, which will help you to meet the audit time. Not only this, but we have a risk management both for process as well as asset based. Then it has vulnerability management and third party management also. So apart from scanning, I would say all the things related to vulnerability management can be done in this particular tool. Also, it provides you with the dashboard, which gives you a real-time visibility and continuous control monitoring, so that top management can get a visibility of the status of compliance across all departments. So, if you are interested to know more about compliance, please feel free to contact us. Over to you, Farhan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha and Rajeshwari. So we have reached the end of our session. Thanks once again, Neha and Rajeshwari, for taking time to, share these key insights about compliance and compliance with us today. Also, thank you to our wonderful audience for tuning in. I'm sure you found the process of learning about ISO 27001 and delving into the world of IT security very exciting. I hope that we were able to clear most of the doubts you had with respect to the topics. Uh, I think we've got a few questions regarding compliance. So maybe we can take a few questions now, right? Neha and Rajeshwari?
Sure.
So we can.
All right. So let me just scroll through one of the questions that we have. So this is a question. Are all the controls mandatory to be implemented?
No, clauses are 4 to 10, which needs to be implemented, but controls no, because there may be some of the control which are not applicable to your organizations. So we can give a like not applicable, and we should give some justification. For example, there is one control called supplier relationship. So there may be some of the organization where where they are not taking any services by the vendor. So this control can be not applicable.
All right. I hope that answered your question. Now there's another one. If there is a risk that cannot be mitigated, what is to be done?
Okay, so if there is a risk which cannot be mitigated, so there must be some business requirement so that we cannot mitigate it. So in that way, there is one procedure called exceptional risk management that needs to be followed. So for that particular risk, we have to take a risk approval by your senior head or a CISO, so that after getting the approval, that risk we should keep in our risk register for a specific period of time called 60 days or 1 year. So in that way we can perform a risk assessment also.
All right. There's one more question. What is the role of top management in implementing ISO 27001?
Sorry, what is the role of?
Top management in implementing
Okay.
ISO 27001.
Okay, so there are some roles and responsibility defines one control calls organization information security of ISMS. So here the role of top management is defined, and when after the your certification get expired and you are going to perform a recertification also, so there are some external auditor comes in now for doing the audit. So there though they will audit your senior management also for management review kind meeting. So that in that part top management role is very important, and they should also aware of all the ISO related part and controls. In that way they
Okay.
can monitor under their colleagues also now. That's why their role is important.
Okay. Now, another one is could you give a brief about the key components of information security management system according to ISO 27001?
Okay, key components like risk assessment is a major component. You can, as I give you a brief also, and scope is also a major part, and controls by implementing control. These are the key controls we should keep in mind before doing the ISO and plan for it.
Okay. Would you like to add anything more to this, like the best practices, since you're an expert in this area?
Okay, like ISO is also matter because as we can see, the cyber attacks is increasing day by day, so that it will be a concern for businesses also. So ISO 27001 2013 provides a comprehensive framework for companies to securely manage their people, processes, and technology. So, by offering a standardized requirement for data protection, business can effectively managed by information security management system. So that in this way we can protect our data also. That's why it is an important part. And we should follow our in practices by going through our information security policies also.
Yeah, right. All right, thank you, Neha. I think we can wind up our session now.
Okay.
To the audience, in case you have more questions on ISO 27001, you can raise them here. We would be posting the answers to the remaining questions on our website, skillmind.com. Do check out our website and find answers to your queries. Alternatively, you can contact us directly via the details given in the chat window. Uh, so that's all from our end. We'll catch you live with another insightful session in the coming days. Thank you all once again, and goodbye.
Goodbye.